In 3, 2.
Next with DJ Hapa on Discover.
Hey, that is right. Next with DJ Hapa right here on Discover on Dash Radio. I want to thank you for tuning in. I'm very excited to have my boy all the way from Tacoma, Washington, happen to be here in town in LA working on some things. My man, Rocky Sandoval.
What's going on? What's going on, everybody? How y'all doing today?
Man, we are good. How you doing? You got a new record that's out called Still in Love. You know, you're going through this rebrand, which I want to definitely talk about.
Excellent.
All of that.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, we're excited to have you. So
man, I'm super excited and humbled and blessed for this opportunity. Man, just a huge fan of the radio station, and
no doubt,
just super dope that we get to connect finally, man.
Yeah.
I've heard so many great things about you.
Yeah, no, and likewise.
Man, you got to mess with Hapa. I'm like, okay.
Well, here we are, man. Here we are. And just to give some people some insight as to, you know, this is a new record that you're putting out, but you've put out albums, man. You've been on national TV shows. You've done a lot in the course of your career, and yet, you know, the grind does not stop. You're moving even more now than you were then. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so tell me, or tell the people a little bit more about the backstory of all of this and sort of the early beginnings.
Man, you know what? It goes back to probably right when I got out of high school, and then moving out to LA. One of the first things that happened was I did the American Idol TV show, and the inaugural year that Kelly won.
Right.
And I got a chance to make the top 50 out of my city in Seattle, and that kind of brought me here to LA. And you know, as a young artist, you just think that you're about to take off.
Right. Like Hollywood. Here we are.
You're here, and you have no idea how much work, how much things got to fall your way, how much luck. And, you know, fast forward about damn near 14, 15 years later, you kind of start to see everything kind of come together.
Right.
And it's been an incredible journey. But I feel like I'm very comfortable in my own skin now. Like, I know exactly what I want to do as opposed to when you first start. So that's, and then of course you start messing with the right people.
Right.
And it's all, in this industry is all about building relationships. I had no idea.
Say that again, because
this industry is
so
about
true.
building relationships.
Absolutely.
That's all it don't matter if you're the best or the dopest. It's about building a relationship with somebody that's able to kind of, you know, have a conversation and help, man. That's it. And if you can build on those relationships, you can go far in this industry.
Yeah.
So.
No, I find that it's so true. I had another artist come in here and say, you know, it's more important in some cases to be out and about meeting people and shaking hands than it is to be cooped up in the studio doing your own thing, you know?
You know, when I first started, I think that's, you know, you had said I had put a collection of music out. Man, that's all I was doing. I was in the studio just putting music out.
Right.
Didn't know what it meant. I was like, I was being really creative. But you can have a million songs that nobody hears because you're not out in the mix.
Right.
And I learned that now, you know, like the last few years kind of worked out. Like, okay, this is how it's supposed to be. Just going out and connecting with people who can maybe get you to this person or this person.
Right.
And that's the key. Like, I get a lot of young artists, especially from Seattle, Tacoma, that ask, you know, 'cause they're out here thinking, oh man, this dude's on, but it's not. It's a grind, bro.
Right.
And so and they're like, what's the biggest advice that you can give me? And I'm like, build those relationships. I don't even care if like it's somebody that you're intimidated by, you don't like or whatever. Just build that. You never know. And so I think that's.
And you never know where people land, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like, you know, the pizza guy,
dude could be could be the CEO of something later, man.
Right.
It's just, you know, it's all about that kind of stuff, and that's the beauty of this industry, man.
Yeah, I think that's so true for people to treat everybody, you know, with the same amount of respect too. Just in line with that example, I mean, we have a ton of interns here at the station.
Right.
You know, one of these interns is going to be running like a major corporation one day, you know, and is going to be a big time producer or a big time songwriter or whatnot. So yeah, you definitely can't, I think, you know, treat people differently based on what you think you're going to get out of it.
Man,
right?
you know, I'm a big family man. My family is just kind of the number one thing that inspires me, and so they told me that you just never know. So you might as well treat everybody with the same,
right?
Because and that'll go a long way. And I think that's really helped me, especially the last few years, man. Because That's the key, man. That's the
What's been the roughest patch? Because there's been obviously a ton of ups, several downs. What's been the roughest patch?
Oh man, I think I had a stretch. Well, when I first moved out here in LA, I actually went to the Music Institute in Hollywood, and I, just to try to get in the music game, and that was great. I built a lot of contacts, but when you're young and naive, you're kind of standoffish. You think that everybody's out to get you. You're like, why isn't my shot coming? I was doing audition after audition. I was able to land a couple of reality TV shows on MTV and all that other stuff.
Right.
But after a while you get burnt out, especially being out here. Being from, definitely Tacoma's not as big as LA. Washington is a smaller market, but when you come out here, everything is just so accessible, and you get frustrated quite a bit. But I think the roughest patch for me was probably a time where I was not in school anymore. I was kind of couch surfing. I was broke, and got into the wrong crowd. And then my creativity kind of went down, and that's probably from 2000, and when I moved back home, I was like, man, I can't do LA no more. And it's kind of been the transition of coming back here. I always told myself, when I come back to LA, man, I'm gonna have all my ducks in a row.
Right.
And it's kind of coming to that point now.
Nice.
Especially with the record, the new record coming out, and the new people that I've been able to connect with. So it's like, oh crap. And then it's like facing your fears, because I failed so miserably out here. And now it's like, man, trying to redirect that energy it's kind of scary, but I know that that's what it's going to come down to eventually, to come back here and kind of right my wrongs a little bit.
Yep, and that's where the growth comes from,
man,
right?
It's so, like, I'm getting chills talking about it, because
right.
I'm like, holy crap, man, this is exactly what I envisioned that could happen if I just stuck to the course. Because in this industry, man, sometimes you feel like it's about to take off. When you're doing, I was the opening act for a bunch of big name R&B legends, and I'm like, oh, this is it, and then it dies down, and then it's like that. It's like a roller coaster, man.
Yep.
So I have a deep respect for a lot of people who are trying to do what I'm doing, because there's a lot of people that's trying to do what I'm doing.
Right.
Because we understand how this grind works, and the people that kind of stick to it, really stick to it. I'm talking like, there's overnight successes that happen. It takes like about 15 years to happen.
And people don't see that.
Nah, they don't, man. I come from Seattle, so I got a chance to see Macklemore do his thing. We kind of have the same group of people, and there's others great Seattle Northwest acts. And now that I'm just starting to see them get on, and everyone's like, oh my gosh, man, who did these guys come from? I'm like, nah, man, we used to do coffee shop shows for 30 people in 2007. So those are the kinds of things that I try to hold true, because it keeps you really humble. It keeps you right at that space, man.
Absolutely. Speaking of the new record, you've got this new track called Still in Love.
Oh, man, yes.
It is a great feel-good record, as you describe it. Just a great R&B song, man.
Yeah,
Tell me a little bit about this.
We got walked in. I was familiar with the Stereotypes back in the day. When I was doing some group stuff with a group called On Fire, and they kind of knew John, and we were introduced to him by a mutual business associate who's now become a good friend of mine named Lyle Del Mundo, and my manager Brian Fernata. They were a real funny story, man. Just real quick, because Lyle Del Mundo met me about 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah, I know Lyle. Yeah.
He just texted me on the way up here, and he said, "Yo, man, make sure you tell him, baby you or something like that."
Oh yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
So funny story, man. I met him, I guess, at a Seattle fashion show thing.
Okay.
And he had said, "Hey, I do this," and I guess I blew him off. Because I was probably in that little space where you thinking that you're way doper than you are. And so 5 years later, I've been working with my business associate, or my business partner Brian, and he's like, "Hey, I got this artist named Rocky Sandoval." Lyle's like, "Not interested." Just
straight up.
And he's like, "What happened?" Then he kind of told him the story, and I was like in shock, because I'm usually really good at being cool with everybody. Well, Lyle comes into town about Brian calls me and says, "Hey, Lyle wants to meet you." I'm like, "Really?" Because he said that he wasn't gonna mess with me at all.
Right.
And I had 102-degree fever, like throwing up. And I said, "I'm sick." He's like, "I don't care what you are, you need to get down here." So from Seattle to Tacoma is about an hour drive in the heat of rush hour on the sick fever. I get up, just suck it up and head down there. Meet Lyle. I'm literally apologizing. I don't know what the hell I did. Maybe I rubbed you wrong. And so from that moment on, he kind of saw like, you know, there was a sincerity because
Sure.
Hey man, if I rubbed you wrong, I apologize. I'm man enough to admit it.
Right.
And I probably did because, you know, when you're a young artist,
it happens.
Man. And so that's another reason why now my mentality is so different because you just never know who you're going to meet. Mm-hmm. That's the golden opportunity. So, you know, just drinking, having some drinks with him, and I'm sick, man. Like, I'm literally just holding it down. I had the chills and everything. Fast forward, like 4 or 5 months later, Lau calls me. He's like, hey, I need you to come down to L.A. I got some opportunity for you. And I'm like, I'm on the plane. Me and Brian head down. He goes, hey, we got a record that we want you to hear. And I hear it, and it's Bruno's 24K Magic. And I'm like, oh, man. And they're like, yeah, this is Bruno's new stuff. The Stereotypes are about to really, really blow. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, no promises, but hey, I can introduce you to him.
Right.
So we go up to the studio in Santa Monica, and sure enough, it's John and them guys, and I'm like, you know, this is like my first time meeting some producers. I've got a chance to work with some other producers, but actually being in the studio as opposed to like emailing and
sending a track
work.
Yeah.
You know, these guys are in there, and I'm like, you know, I'm like wanting to play all my stuff, but you just can't come at them like that. Mm-hmm. And I learned how to build a relationship with those cats.
Right.
And as soon as, you know, they heard my music, they're like, hey, man, we like your voice. We think that your stuff is great, but we can kind of take you to the next level. And it kind of snowballed from there. We were able to get the business done. They brought on August Rigo, who's, you know, now one of the top songwriters for that genre. And it was probably the most satisfying moment that I've ever had because I had direction from them. They were actually in the studio there working with me. And I cut a record, like a professional record, in a professional studio with the top producers at that time. Man.
Right.
And now it's like to the point where the relationship is kind of established because now we're working on doing more records, but and they're kind of giving me the freedom to kind of do whatever with this record. And when I first heard this record, I was at home and in my little small apartment in Tacoma, and the song was already chopped. You know, they had kind of cut some references for it, and I just like, man, I kind of wept, man. I was like, yo, I just want a shot, bro. Like I just want one opportunity to kind of get going, and and here we are. Now it's kind of, we shot a video. The video is ready to go. We got this whole marketing campaign, so I'm just so excited to just put it out there because I know now I'm getting the opportunity to do what it does, and if it don't work, then it's God's plan and it don't work. But at least I got a chance to really be in a position.
And you have your ducks in a row.
Now it is, man.
Now you have your ducks in a row, man.
So I'm just.
Well, I'm excited to play it here on Dash Radio.
Man, I'm so humbled that it's here. Like, this is huge. This is so huge. Me and Brian were talking. He's like, man, this is a great opportunity. And so just want to thank you and everybody else that's involved with trying to get me into the studio.
Let's do it, man. Let's run it. This is Still in Love. Rocky Sandoval hanging out with us here in studio. Yeah. We got more with him when we come back, but here is his single. This is Fire, produced by the Stereotypes. What up, Ray, John? This is Still in Love.
Can't say that, you ain't gonna take me back, girl, you can't say that.
Hey, man, that is a heater right there. Rocky Sandoval, Still in Love, brand new single. You're here in studio to help us premiere this thing. Man, how does that feel? Hear it on the airwaves.
I get goosebumps, man, and I'm not just saying that. I've been at this for so long,
right?
And so it's very gratifying when you're putting in the work. I just want it so bad. And I think that what happens is people can really see the honesty behind the art that you put out. So I'm hoping that I don't have like 100,000 followers, but it grows organically.
Yep.
And the few thousand that I do have, help pack out my shows. They buy the records, and so I know that there's something there.
Yeah.
Because it can be honest music, and so I really just concentrate on that and hope I'll let God take care of the rest, man.
Nice, man.
That's what now we finally have a record that we can push that we feel really good about. And the crazy thing is, I remember those guys sitting with John and them at the studio. They were like, man, one song can change your life. Like one song, just one, if it's done correctly. And I stuck to that, and so hopefully this opens up more doors. But we've recorded more material. Like we got a whole arsenal coming. We feel really good, and hopefully this just can be the opening the door for us. So.
Nice, man. Nice. Well, I'm obviously a fan, and a part of the team. Want to help you succeed here and help you get to that next rung, man.
Appreciate that, man.
The record out everywhere, Still in Love. We've built out a post on my website for Rocky that has links back to his socials, also links back to the video. All of that is there on my site, hapaworld.com.
Yeah,
and then, man, before we get out of here, you got to give us a few bars or something.
Yeah, okay.
We got to show them that this is real. There's no tuning. This is real.
Oh man, yeah. So I guess what I would probably do, especially when I get it a lot. When you're a singer, well, sing something. Sing something.
Right, it's like when you're a comedian.
Right.
Tell me a joke.
So tell me a joke. Well, one of the things, like I'm from an era where R&B was like different.
Mm-hmm.
Like I got a chance to open up for Boyz II Men, Casey, JoJo, Bradman. Like that's what I love.
Right.
Because I'm a little bit old school. My voice was old school, and they used to tell me, man, yeah, your voice is really old school. So, but this new sound, you got to kind of get into it, which is what the record was. We kind of took those elements, and they had me singing a little bit different. But yeah, I'm a huge old school R&B joint. I got a chance to open up with those guys. One of the greatest honors of my life is when Casey and JoJo invited me to sing up with them with John B.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah, it's on YouTube. You guys can check that out, man. It's like there's Asian kids singing on there with all of these greats. But if I had to do some bars, it'd probably be one of my favorite songs is Tyrese's Sweet Lady. So
okay.
Do a little bit.
All right. Everybody, we got more music on the way after this, but you're not gonna miss this right here, right now. Rocky Sandoval live in studio.
Yeah.
A little taste.
Of
Of what he got.
Now any other day I would play it cool, but I can't now, 'cause I want you. See, I'm hooked on how you flex your style, and I wanna talk for a little while. I'll never get to see your type, but I must admit that I kinda like. So baby, if you have the time, we could talk about you being my sweet lady. Would you be my sweet love for a lifetime? Yeah.
Oh man, there we go.
And I just woke up. It's like 8 in the morning.
Oh,
I
man,
didn't even get to warm up, but
you did that. No, man, you did that, and
something.
man, I can't thank you enough for coming through. Everybody, Rocky Sandoval, make sure to go and stream this, download it, buy it. Still in Love out everywhere now. We got more music on the way. Don't
Yes.
go anywhere. You're tuned in to Dash.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you very much for
No
everybody
worries,
out there.
man.
I really am super humble and honored that you would have me come on here. So thank
Oh
you very
man,
much. man.
my
Thank you,
pleasure.
thank you,
My
sir.
pleasure. Don't go anywhere, folks.
Yes, sir.
Awesome, man. I'm gonna have.
That's it, yo. We did it. We did it. All right. We're heading out. Dash Studios, Hollywood. Oh, man, how's this weather looking? That was cool, man. That was cool.